What's the hardest language to learn in the world? Is it Chinese, English, Klingon? The answer is it depends. And I'm going to get to the answer at the end of this video. But first, I want to elaborate on that. It depends. So it depends on whether you've got any language learning experience at all. Because even if you've learned, say, some Spanish and you never actually learned it to fluency, that's still going to help you if you decided that you wanted to pick Spanish back up. You wanted to actually try and learn it to fluency. That's going to help you. Any experience that you have previously is going to help you. Now, if you've learned a language all the way to fluency, then I'm going to tell you, I like it to compare it to you're standing at a cliff and you're looking out across like a chasm. It's full of mist. You can't see the other side, but there's this bridge, this rope bridge, it's leading off towards the other side of the chasm. Okay? You don't know what it's like to get all the way to the other side, to the opposite side of that chasm. You don't know if that rope bridge is going to, stop halfway and there's going to be something else that you're going to have to deal with, some other obstacle. But once you've gotten to the other side, it's a lot easier to come back, right? So, because of that getting to the other side, getting to fluency, that's going to make it a lot easier once you've picked up any language to fluency to then go and learn another language. But any experience that you have getting across that chasm, getting across maybe that first bridge, you know what that's like. So that's going to inform your learning any language or picking up that one that you were learning before if you decide that you want to tackle it again. So that's one. Two, it depends. Even if we're talking about people who have no language experience at all, they haven't learned even a single course in school. They didn't take, even like one semester. They don't have that experience. So, if we're talking about I'm going to give you an example. If we're talking about a Mandarin speaker and an English speaker, right? They only speak that language. They haven't learned anything from anything else. They both go and learn Cantonese. Who's going to learn it quicker? It's definitely going to be the Mandarin speaker because the Mandarin speaker has a number of advantages. One, they don't have to worry about the characters because they already know basically all the characters they're going to need to know, or they can build on top of that foundation if they need to learn new ones, as is the case with Cantonese. But I digress. So they don't have to really deal with the characters. They don't have to deal... they've learned a tonal language before. So they have that experience of what it's like to speak a tonal language, and so tones are a lot less of a hurdle for them. So no characters, no tones. They've got cultural similarities due to all being part of kind of like the same cultural region. They're a lot closer culturally than a native English speaker in, say, America or the UK or South Africa is going to be to a Cantonese speaker in, a Mandarin speaker in China going and learning Cantonese. That's a lot less of a distance geographically and also culturally. So they've got those advantages. Now, let's take those two speakers and say they both want to learn Spanish now, just as a basis for comparison. What if they want to learn Spanish? The Mandarin speaker is going to have a way harder time than that English speaker, because unlike what that Mandarin speaker was actually getting when they were going to learn Cantonese, they had a lot of words in common that were, maybe they weren't pronounced exactly the same, but they're patterns that you can pick up on. So if it's, to give you a relatable example, if you're an English speaker, you're going and learning Spanish. I mean, yeah, okay. You've already got tortilla, jalapeño, so you're basically bilingual already, right? All jokes aside. You've got a whole bunch of what are called cognates. Perfect cognates or near perfect cognates. They're going to make it a lot easier for you to go and learn Spanish. So, just as an example, the TY ending in English corresponds to the DAD ending in Spanish. And so, if you learn basically these patterns that exist due to historical reasons, and then you can really quickly, just by learning this one small change, you can learn how to form a whole bunch of words basically like that. So that TY to DAD. Let me give you an example. We've got possibility becomes posibilidad. We've got society becomes sociedad. And so while you don't pronounce them the same, you can certainly, once you've learned that pattern, you can recognize them in text and you can write those. If you can just, as many as you can think of, you could turn them into Spanish words pretty much right away with very minor changes, because for example, Spanish doesn't have a reason to do SS in a row, so it just goes with a single S. Another example, community, you only need one M because you pronounce all letters in Spanish. And so that's just COMUNIDAD, that's community, comunidad. So it's just as easy as that. So you just like learn that one small thing, and you can already create a whole bunch of words without even knowing, oh, SS just needs to go to S, or MM needs to go to M. You don't even need to know that. You already learn a whole bunch of words. Because another example, velocity, velocidad. All you do is change the TY to a DAD. Done. Okay? So you've got so many advantages, you just don't know that you know them. And that's one of the things that, language learners like myself have already learned along the way. We've already picked up on these things, and so we know what to look for. But getting back to that question of which language is the most difficult to speak in the world, so I said it depends, right? It depends on that Mandarin speaker and English speaker going to learn Cantonese versus going to learn Spanish. It's a lot easier if your background is English to go and learn Spanish, or it's a lot easier to learn Cantonese if you're Mandarin speaker. So you've got a lot more things in common. So it depends on how close you are culturally, how close your languages are. They the same family? Are they different families? So there are lists out there. There's research that's been done by the U.S. government for English speakers to try and determine what's the easiest versus what's the most difficult language. And so it turns out that there are a group of languages that are called group 5, because they group them 1 through 5, 1 being English. So if you're a native English speaker, you speak group 1. Group 2 is the closest that's not English. And group 5 is the furthest away. And so it depends on how close or far is their culture, and a number of other factors, like basically, are they the same language? Do they have the same grammatical features, and etc.? Do you get cognates or not? That sort of thing informs the answer to who belongs in which group. And so group 5, just to go ahead and cut to the chase, is composed of 5 languages. 4 of them are difficult in their own right, but there's a 5th one that's considered to be even more difficult than the rest of them. And the first 4 are Arabic, Mandarin, Cantonese, Korean, and then the most difficult one is considered to be Japanese. And in a sense, that makes sense. Japanese is a train wreck of a language, if we're being honest. That's how I like to describe it to my students, because Japanese has characters which you have to go and learn. Chinese characters, I mean. You have to go and learn Chinese characters. There's a list out there of, basically 2,000, if I'm not mistaken, it's 1,900 Joyo kanji. And that you need to learn, to get through high school. But the point is, to be able to get through most written material, you need at least 1,900 kanji that you have to go and learn. So you got to learn that, and then you got to learn hiragana, katakana, because obviously you need 46 characters. In addition to all those Chinese characters, you need an alphabet composed of 46 characters, basically, because it actually has 2 alphabets. They had to go and give you an alphabet, hiragana, which is for, conjugations, particles, and some other, native words. And then you've got katakana, which is only for foreign words, technical vocabulary. So you've got to have 2 alphabets, 46 characters in total, and then Chinese characters. So that's part of why Japanese is so difficult. And that's not it, without even talking about, they don't have tones, but they have pitch. So, as you can see, I said, it depends. Do you have any language learning experience previously? If you do, you can even put that towards learning Japanese. But if you want to go back and learn that language that you learned before, however many years ago it was, it's going to inform your experience with this language, learning it now. So I definitely encourage you to do so. Don't get, don't be preoccupied about, this language is category 5, or what have you, if you're interested in Japanese, for example. But yeah, so those are the hardest languages, that group, and then Japanese is considered to be more difficult. So you can go online, you can find the FSI languages, and it'll tell you approximately, if you're spending 8 hours a day, they presume, every single day, working on these languages, how many hours is it going to take you to get to a certain level of fluency. So if you want to go look that up, have at it. FSI languages, you search that, it'll come up. So until next time, let me know what it is that you think is the hardest languages, or what was a language that you were able to have success with, or you found to be particularly challenging. I love to hear about people's different experiences, regardless of how far they got into their language. So until next time, y'all take care now. Bye-bye.